Okay, well, I was hoping to record this earlier when it was light at lunchtime, but yes, it's been a bit of a busy day. So, just an interesting discussion about the miles on your EV, particularly in winter, and resetting the miles. So, people, I guess, if they're a little bit more new to having an EV, might be a bit concerned that when they picked it up, it was showing maybe 150 or 200 miles. And that's reduced, and when they charge it up, you know, might say I was only charging up to 157 and it used to show 200 when I picked it up. Now, your car, when you got it, will have been reset. So it would have been reset to the factory default usage in terms of miles per kilowatt hour. So your battery charges up, it takes in a number of kilowatt hours of electricity, and those kilowatt hours can be turned into movement, obviously used. And normal kind of figures are between about 3 and sort of 3 to 4 generally miles per kilowatt hour. In the cold winter, a bit less than 3. If you've got a particularly efficient car like a Hyundai Ioniq or something like that, real slippery drag coefficient car, or you drive particularly carefully, you'll be getting 4 or maybe even 5. So your car's getting less miles. Can you reset it? You can reset it back to the factory sort of default, and we can do that, and we'll show you what happens, and then we'll discuss whether it's actually worthwhile. This is a Zoe. There is a sort of 2-pedal reset trick, but I don't do it like that. I do it through this screen, so you can see here mine's showing 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour, and if we look on the dash, we've got 26 miles. It's about -1 at the moment, and I've been using the heater plenty because I can. So if I press reset, it says, do you want to reset? This deletes all the current data. Yes. Right. So that's just jumped up. So fantastic. Now I can do 38 miles. But let's think about what's actually happened here. What's happened is the car has a factory default record of its miles per kilowatt hour. And that will be close, or usually is close to the sort of NEDC, the official test cycle of the car. So let's say your car does 200 miles according to the manufacturer. You pick it up and it says 200, but it kind of drops a bit quicker, and then as you charge it, you get more like 150. You reset it, however you do that in your car, and it shows you sort of 200. But what have you done? Have I got any more energy in this battery? Well, no, of course I haven't. All I've done is I've changed this calculation, and what it's doing here is it's taking the energy that's stored in the battery and it's multiplying that by the miles that you get out of each kilowatt hour. So you've got 5 kilowatt hours, you can do 3 miles kilowatt hour, whatever. You can do 15 miles. If you reset that and it then is 4 miles per kilowatt hour, you're going to be getting 20 miles. But you haven't got any more energy, and you're not actually going to be able to go any further. What you've done is you've just deleted the recent and accurate record of driving history, and now you're showing an unrealistic record, an unrealistic range potentially. Now I should point out this range, this 38 miles, this isn't a limit. This is just the car's best guess. People call it a guessometer, and that's pretty accurate really. This is the best guess of what the car thinks based on recent usage patterns you will get. And some people are a bit concerned if they have taken their car on a long journey, but they've been doing motorway speed. They normally just drive around town or whatever, do their normal errands, and then they go on a long journey, so you drive a lot faster on the motorway, and the consumption is a lot higher. When you get back and plug it in, it shows a lot lower. You're like, okay, what's happened to my car? Well, the only thing that's happened to your car is the recent history of consumption has changed. There's nothing wrong with it. The amount of energy that the battery stores hasn't changed. Presuming there's not actually something wrong with your car. All that's happened is the miles that you can get out of a kilowatt hour, or that you have been getting recently, is less because you've been driving faster on the motorway. Now you can do this kind of reset, but to be honest, there's no point. It's just unrealistically big then. And I would advise basically that you just kind of drive the car and use it. Basically, don't bother resetting it because it's not going to be realistic. Just continue to use it, and the miles will go back up to what it normally will be. And as I said, this is not a limit, so I know it's concerning if you're setting off and that's actually not enough miles. But if you normally sort of hammer it around or use the heater a lot, and you know if you drive your car carefully, use the heater less, that you'll get to your destination, then you will know that just from experience of your vehicle. And this might actually, you might get more than is here, but not if you reset it, because you'll have an unrealistically high expectation. So I should just cover off, obviously there is a potential for an issue with your vehicle that can reduce the range. So particularly an older vehicle, you could have inefficiency in the drivetrain, so something like brake drag, or you know, your discs can be corroded and cause drag on the wheels, wheel bearings, things like that. If you're concerned, have a look at EV database. So just put in, you know, like Renault Zoe EV database, Renault Zoe ZE50, ZE40, whatever. EV database is really good, gives you a sort of an average mileage or kilometers, and then it will show you urban and extra urban and all that kind of stuff, so you can get a feel for your vehicle and whether what you're getting is correct for your vehicle. It can be hard to get the manufacturer stated range, and that's kind of just to be expected because that's in an unrealistic test cycle. But EV database is the actual real world miles, so that's really good. Lots of information on there, so that's cool. And then you'll know whether what you're getting is correct or whether your car might potentially have an issue with the battery or with the drivetrain, something like that. But if your car is getting what it should be, it is natural that it varies. In winter, your heater will use more, even if you have a heat pump. So this Zoe has a heat pump, all Zoes have a heat pump. But in addition, it's kind of dark, but in this front dash, put some lights on, I suppose. In this sort of front, you know, console area, right at the bottom here is a PTC heater, which gives the sort of heat pump a boost, particularly when it's cold. Which is great, but what that means is the car uses more energy when it's cold, and you use the heater more when it's cold, so that kind of makes sense. And also, the battery chemistry is affected by the cold. Certain cars will do preheating, but cold you will get a bit less, and in summer you'll get a bit more. But driving style has a big impact on the range you will get as well. So just remember that isn't a limit. I wouldn't bother resetting it because that's pointless, basically, because I'm not right now, unless I drive really carefully, going to get 38 miles, because whereas I did have a realistic recent usage shown on there, and I would know that if I drive it, you know, carefully, I would have got more than what it was showing. Now I know that I have to drive carefully to get that because it's showing a, you know, a factory average, whereas it's winter, and I tend to put the heater on and enjoy myself in my talky electric cars. So hopefully that's useful. Yeah, as I say, EV database is really good, and if you think you've got an issue with your car, you know, obviously get it checked out. But all being well, you should just get to know the range of your vehicle and understand what it can do, and then you will know when there's an issue with your car. You'll know because you know how many miles you normally get out of it. You know, you drive to work, school, whatever, and you normally have X miles left, and you'll know if it's less than that. So hopefully that's useful, and it's going to be another cold night. But yeah, any interesting sort of quirks with your vehicles, be good to know in the comments. I know the Ioniqs, so not like the Ioniq 5, but the original Hyundai Ioniqs are particularly slippery. If there's other vehicles that get sort of particularly good range, yeah, do let me know. I was very tempted to get an Ioniq 38 kilowatt hour at one point, because they have CCS and get really good mileage, but we shall see. All right, catch you later.